our away guys?
Obviously the interior defense was where they got you tonight, and it seemed like from talking to Mike Young that was their strategy going in. I know you have who you have. Just how do you, I guess, shore up the defense inside so you don't get blistered like you did tonight? I think you guys gave up 50 to 3 post guys on maybe 5 missed shots between them.
Our post guys, they got to be a bit more disciplined. You know what I mean? Like you got to be disciplined. Like when you're teaching, man. Like the one thing for me in being here is that these atmospheres. I think right now it rattles us when we get in these atmospheres. So when the games start to get fast, we got to be better thinking. And so there's a couple times, where even, the guards got to help the bigs in certain situations, but we got to be in a stance. We got to anticipate what's next. Defensively, to be a good defensive player, you got to anticipate what's next. And it's a process, unfortunately, and sometimes the process is painful, but you got 3 quarters, you got to fight guys, you got to push catches out, you got to do different things. And, Tech's bigs, they play really well. They played really well this evening, and we just, collectively, we just didn't do a good job on the defensive end.
What were some of the shortcomings defensively in the first half?
Back screens, not talking, not getting off the ground and contest shots when they got 3-point shooters. Like, sometimes it gets frustrating, because we talk about these things, we go over these things, but we continuously don't execute them. So, we just gotta get back to work. It's a part of it. Again, it's a part of it. I think they're trying. I'm not gonna knock their effort, but we got to be better. We got to be able to play when the game gets fast. I always say that when the game is fast, you got to be able to play the same way as when the game is slow. When the game gets fast, you got to be able to play the same way when you're on the road. You can't be a sometimey team. It's a pretty good atmosphere. I told my team, you got to fight. So next time I come in this arena, you know this arena, but it reminds me, it's a totally different arena, but the same type of atmosphere. Just playing Utah Jazz was a different type of beast. A team that run a lot of sets, methodical, try to carve you apart like a surgeon with a scalpel. But like I say, I was on really young Portland teams, but you gotta lock in. Like you gotta lock in. You can't take possessions off because they boom. You don't get off the ground. We get the game back to 7, and you don't get off the ground. That's not a contested shot. It's not a contested shot, not here. You might hope he miss it on the road, back at our place, but he's not missing that here. And so you got to be so mentally tough. And I think tonight wasn't no physical game for me. I feel like we got beat down mentally, because mentally you got to prepare. It's not just defense. It's starting on offense, damn near half court. Like you can't do that. Can't beat anybody off the bounce. Got to be able to beat guys off the bounce and make a play. Like these are things that, one thing, sometimes you look at the box score and you say to yourself, man, they got carved up on the inside. But you know what I see? I see, for the most part, their leading scorer had 9 points on 8 shots. Kid had 5 points above his average, but if you really look up and down, they box score, it's the lack of discipline. Coming over trying to block a shot, and you ain't gonna block it. You're just taking yourself out to play. So now the guard comes and he just drops and he dips it. Like, man, that's discipline. Work on these things. So we all got to be held accountable. I got to be held accountable as the leader, but for me, like, I just think the biggest issue with our team right now today is this is what I say, because when I play, when the game is on, and that shit start going, pew, 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 you gotta know what you're doing. that's where can't no coaches help you. Excuse my language, but that's what happens. And that's where we got to get better.
Chad?
You mentioned it and what you're talking about just now. Those wraparound passes, the guys driving the baseline and then just dumping the ball. Guys not trusting the defender to hold his man in front of him, even though you probably are more athletic at some of those spots. Just how do you fix that? I know like Bai's a young guy, but like Ty's not. And just how do you get them to stay home and stay on their man? Because that was what was giving up a lot of those baskets.
It's discipline. You just got to teach it every day. You gotta just keep working at it. You can't do anything else. They do it in practice, so we just have to continue to do it. You know, that's all that you can do. You know what I mean? And you know, stand between your man and the basket is just as important. And you know, again, our perimeter D is to be desired at times. I mean, Barron dribbled from dang near half court, and nobody stepped over. First of all, he shouldn't be beaten by half court anyway. Nobody stepped over the whole way, and that's a problem. We had 2 defensive rotations where guys had an opportunity to come and take a hit, stand up, maybe get a charge, maybe you don't, but you don't take yourself out of the way by acting like you want to get the ball when you didn't have a shot. See, like for me, I look at stuff like that. See, because the basketball players that come right here, I bet if I take the same thing happened, that guy would have stood right there. Now, guy might have still scored, but that was the rotation. You don't take yourself out of the way by trying to go get a steal you can't get. So for me, like even big picture, we got out rebounded. Like our rebounding been going the other way. They averaged 33 rebounds as a team. They got 37 tonight. We lost the rebound battle too. So to me, it's just a bigger picture. You know, again, the mental toughness of coming in the building right here, you got to prepare for a fight. And we wasn't prepared for the fight. They brought the fight to us. They brought the confrontation to us from jump. And we were on our heels for the rest of the night.
2 more. You Chad.
Coach, you mentioned that some of your players looked phased, but one player didn't look phased was Nathan George with 8 assists and 7 points. What do you like about his development team as just a freshman?
I think Nate is going to be a really good player. You know, sometimes, you know, what happens is you know, as a coach, you talk about your team, and in the midst of, you know, trying to get wins, you got a guy like Nate who's a freshman, you got Bai who's a freshman, and you know they're going to be pretty good, but it don't help right now. But when you look at now that the game is over, I mean, he's going to be a really good player. He has a great feel for the game. A lot of people don't even really understand. He essentially didn't have a summer with us. He didn't get here until right before school started. So once he's able to get in better shape, take care of his body, you know, get a little stronger, things like that, he'll be even better.
Chad, you want to finish?
Yeah, just thoughts on Carter Murphy coming back, and think he can give you a lift moving forward?
I was happy for Carter. You know, Carter, he will give us a lift. And you know, even when we were going to Hawaii, I wish he would have been in Hawaii, and that's when he had got hurt. So he's been out for a while, but to see him come in and knock down a couple shots, that was huge. And I think that he definitely helped us moving forward.
Thanks, Coach.